Hey Brad, I guess the obvious question is just tell us about Mr. Coronato and what drew you to him.
Well, combination. I think he's, the things that we value in terms of, I mean, it's an elite competitive level. People will talk about his school scoring, and I think he's up in terms of one of the top, if not the top, pure goal scorers in this draft. But it's how he scores his goals. He scores in a variety of ways, but the constant is the motor that he has, the ability to go into hard areas, the ability to sort of outwill people, to create chances for himself, for his teammates. Highly competitive, highly intelligent, excellent shot, excellent release. Just the skill package for us that's based in a high end compete, and it's a hardworking kid that's just driven to succeed. So really like the player, and we're excited to select him.
Is there a risk in going with a college player, or is that something you address when you interview these guys and say, what are your plans? Would you come to Calgary? These sort of things.
Well, there's always risk in everything. We do a lot of homework on every one of these players. Certainly, I think I'm sure there's some sort of narrative with the situation we've had previously with a player that was drafted and chose not to come here. At the end of the day, you take the best player, and we did a lot of homework with Matt. We talked about, obviously we know he's going to Harvard. That was all part of the background information, but at the end of the day, you have to make decisions. And we just felt, I would tell you right now, I have no concerns. We know the process that these players go through when they've got the ability to go to college. Our staff, myself, specifically spoke with Matt over the course of the last couple of weeks, several occasions. We feel real comfortable. And like I said, what drew us to this player is the package that he has.
And last question, just in terms of this is always a big weekend for you. You've traditionally been a very busy guy. Do you anticipate tomorrow to be much busier than just picking players, or is there a lot of trade talk?
Oh, there's lots of talk. I don't know to handicap it, Eric. I don't know. I've said time and time again, we're trying to make ourselves better. There's got to be a fit. You got to find, a dance partner. You got to all those things have to fit. So we can sit here and bang away that we want to do this and that, but people have also got to find a fit with them. So we'll continue to look at it. It's lots of activity over the draft weekend, but this isn't, doesn't end after tomorrow. So we'll stay active and see where we get to over the coming days and weeks.
Okay, thanks, Brad.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to Ryan Pike next.
Hey, Brad. I believe this is 3 years in a row you've gone for a forward in the first round. As you look at sort of the young forwards you have in your group right now, how do you feel Matthew slots in with guys like Zary and Pelche right now?
Well, he's a right shot, plays multiple positions, was a center, I would say a natural center growing up. So his ability to be versatile, and like I said, just in all those players, there's a constant theme in terms of the competitive level that they have, the will that they have. This guy's, he's unique in the sense that he's special in terms of his ability to score, and so you add to us. You add a goal scorer with a high motor, a hungry player, real intelligent. So I think he fits nice in the prospect pool. But they're young players. He's got some time in front of him. He'll go through the development program, and but certainly, and again, you hear this. You hear this every night on draft night. We were excited to see him there when we were still on the board when it came to our pick. So we were excited to make the selection.
And I guess more generally, we obviously this is a unique year with not a lot of live viewings of a lot of the players who were on the draft board. From your perspective, how did you feel about how I guess the whole first round unfolded in general? Because just looking around, it seems like there was a lot of variation. I guess probably between a lot of different players and a lot of different draft boards if you look at sort of the publicly available rankings.
Well, I mean, we had a pretty good group. I don't know the exact number in terms of 32 picks. I think we were at 25 or so on our board. Don't quote me on that, but it is a unique year, Ryan. Like there's, certainly the top end of the draft probably fell similar to what we thought. Maybe a guy out of slot 1 or 2 spots, but I think it's a unique year. There's kids picked today. There were some kids picked tonight that didn't play this year. What I think it could lead itself to some activity in terms of picks tomorrow being moved. Either move down, move back, move up, move down situations. If you feel real comfortable that somebody you like and that starts to slide and vice versa. So it's a unique year. But I think everybody's done their work as best that they can. There was still a lot of hockey played that you got to. Our staff was active all year, got to the games where there were games, and then we did a lot of work, as everybody else did, watching a lot of videos. So I think the volatility, I think that's probably going to be more so tomorrow.
Okay, we'll go to Danny Austin next.
Thanks. Brad, his goal scoring numbers obviously really jump out and are pretty incredible, and you've mentioned them. When we spoke to him, he was pretty adamant that he's more than that, and that he plays a 200-foot game. What else do you like about his game?
Well, just that. This isn't, it's not a perimeter guy or a guy that cheats to score. He's a very well-rounded player, which is unique with a guy with his finishing skill. So, when you go back and look at his production and how he scores goals, it's one thing just to look at, goal totals, but how do you score them? And, his ability to, he drives possession. He's responsible defensively. He plays inside the game. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff in the blue paint. He's a strong kid. He's a real thick, strong-bodied guy. And, we look at him as he's got the ability to play a real heavy game. And what we really like, obviously, is his ability to finish. It's the hardest thing to do in this league is score, and he's got a knack for it. But how you score determines how well that ability translate from the amateur level to the pro level. And we think it's going to translate well. He's only going to get stronger. And like I said, he's a strong, thick-bodied kid who's just highly competitive. I mean, this guy's he's got a huge engine on him, and he cares as much about the play on his side of the blue line as it does on the other side, the other team's blue line. So, like I said, a real well-rounded guy and a real top player in this draft.
Thank you.
We'll go to Haley Salvian next.
Brad, you've touched a lot on Matt's, player profile. I'm curious, coming into day one of the draft, were you and Todd and the rest of your team looking for an organizational fit, or what you believed was the best player available with this pick?
Well, we always go with best player available, Haley. That's, again, the best, we believe the best player on the board is. I would say that there was an intersection between best player available and a positional need within the organization. He's a right shot, played right wing this year, played a little bit of center, but mostly right wing, has been a center all his, for the majority of his career, comfortable in all 3 forward positions. I consider him a two position player. Speaking with Teddy Donato at Harvard, he's a little unsure where he'll play next year. I'm sure he's going to play in his top six. He'll be an offensive contributor. Could play center. Could play the wing. Can transport the puck up the ice. So he's got the traits of a centerman, but those finishing skills around the net and his ability to get inside on people, sometimes lends yourself to the wing. So, a right shot guy who has a potential to play a center on the wing, that need within the organization we know on our reserve list is a need. But it intersected tonight when we got to our board and it was our pick. His name was there, so it worked out well.
Okay, we'll go to Pat Steinberg next.
Brad, I know you just talked about Matt's overall game, but you take a look at the numbers in Chicago last year. It's been a while since you've drafted a guy in his draft year with numbers quite like that, almost a goal a game. Can you just talk about adding that type of specifically offensive upside to the organization?
Yeah, I mean it's big. You need talent, and he's got it. And you don't know how it's all going to flow. You really don't know how it's going to flow. I think certainly at the high end of this draft, we had a fairly good idea how it was going to go, and then probably after 4, who knows? And but to get a guy with his ability to produce the way he does, and just his overall game and the personality. This is a high character kid. He's a beloved teammate. He's got leadership skill. All those boxes are checked. But you go through drafts, and this is where you build, your talent base, and to come out of this with the ability, with this type of ability, I know as the pick start, time starts to get a little slower when you get to 8, 9, 10, and there's some really good players there, and we're fortunate to get the guy we got.
Okay, we'll go to Slum next.
Hi, Brad. Was there anything about Matt's interview process that was unique or kind of stood out among the other prospects that you chatted with?
I don't know if it's unique, Salam. You do a lot of homework. It's not just your interview process. You spend a lot of time with that, but there's a lot of background homework, and what kept coming back is just how popular of a teammate he was. And when you say popular, it's not just a popularity contest. He leads by the way he's in the gym. He's a rink rat. He's there first. He stays late. The character of this kid is special, and you blend that in. He's a smart kid. Obviously, he's going to school at a top school. So it's just all, it's an exciting package. When you look at the player and the person, it's a really exciting package. And we spoke a lot. We spoke a lot to him. As we got here to the last several days, I had a couple of real good chats with him. So, I wouldn't say there's anything that unique that stood out, other than real quality kid.
Okay, and on a different note, do you have any update on talks with Johnny and how those are progressing?
Ongoing. They're ongoing.
Yeah.
Nothing new to report today.
Thanks.
Okay, final question for Brad Treliving. We'll go to Pete Labardius.
Hi, Brad.
Pete.
Just a couple of quick ones for you. I know it's been a long day. How impressed were you with the way Mr. Coronato asserted himself after a great regular season with his run in the playoffs? And how beneficial might it be that, unlike a lot of players in this unique draft year, he ended up having a pretty much full season under his belt in terms of his development?
Yeah, Pete, like I talked about a little bit earlier, it's, not all goals are the same. How you score them and when you score them. He followed up an unbelievable regular season, and in the most important time of the year, he was a dominant player in the playoffs. You go back, we watched every one of his shifts in the playoffs and through the regular season. They had a really good team. Those that aren't familiar with Chicago Steel, they won the Clark Cup this year. It's a top program, has been for years. And he was surrounded by some real talented players. But when you go and even interview the staff there and talk with the players there, this guy was the driver. He was the driver of that group on the ice, the driver off it. But certainly in those big moments, and leading himself to a championship, and it's never a bad thing when you have people that have had success. And this kid's coming off a championship. He's got a winning pedigree, but ultimately just his ability and the way he plays the game is, we think he's got a chance to be a real good player. So that playoff performance certainly didn't help. Didn't hurt him at all. And to the second point, Pete, it was unique. You're trying not to penalize people that didn't play. So you feel bad for some of these kids because, as the step you take from your underage year to your draft year is huge. Just the physical development. You're talking about some of these kids, haven't played since they were 16 years old, and so Matt's ability to play, obviously, everybody's more current with him because you see him throughout the year, but certainly, the type of year that he had, the fact that he was able to play, how long they went, the championship, all those things are huge steps. Some kids didn't have that opportunity, unfortunately, but in an important year for him in terms of his draft year, he got a full year of development, which we think is real important.